Hello and welcome! Recently, Lightsaber Skip gave me a lot of trouble, so I played around and found a different setup. For the new players, it's important though to set two hotkeys to make life easier. The first is the sidestep turn function that converts mouse movement to strafing, and I set force speed to R because we activated mid-jump chain. As you can see, the strafing using A and D is very sensitive. But using the sidestep turn function, we can move more slowly, which is super crucial. To set up quickly, I start jumping early using strafe hops in pairs, and then crouch climb over the second door to allow myself the most time to quick save in a good spot. Here the goal is to get into position and force push the peg as quickly as possible. The pillar will start lifting right after you pass a trigger in the final doorway, so it's important to activate force speed after you start the first jump, and then land in an easily approachable spot next to the pillar. Squaring up and walking to the middle of the peg allows for an easier skip. Then, after force push, immediately crouch and press W to move into position and halt the pillar's ascension. Once you get on top, it's important to sidestep out of the way. Otherwise, you will get pegged and die instantaneously. To dodge certain death, simply add in a strafe key to the favored side while looking at the pillar. Just make sure you don't look too far out or sidestep too much, or you'll fall off and lose the trick. So for the traditional setup, after you get on top of the pillar and dodge the ascending pegs, use the sidestep turn function we have bound to X to walk away from the cage. I start looking horizontal to the saber and then adjust by quick saving and turning towards the center of the pillar to reduce the rate I move away to have a safer overall setup. Then, after you get the saber, make sure to switch to blue style before the dialogue finishes so that you can have an easier Tavion boss fight in the future. So if you want to get crazy, instead of using the X key, which is a sidestep turn function, just use the save keys and visual cues, which is very, very difficult to get consistent, but it is a little bit faster. So this backup strat was the first way I applied my new initial setup, and it's the exact same as the way I do the traditional lightsaber skip. However, what you're just going to do is land on top of the cage, because you can crouch climb up really, really fast. And then after you ride it to the top, you aim at the first peg at the top and then force push each one right after they start appearing as quickly as possible, just mashing the force push. And then you dive all the way back and just do the normal vanilla playthrough style of getting the lightsaber. So if you don't force push the peg immediately, it's still really easy to ride it to the top. All you have to do is, after you get up, just rotate around until you fit into the square hole, and then the pillar will raise as normal. Alright, so in this last section, I'm just showing a bunch of examples where I'm quick loading from the same save. This is just to show how consistent this strat is with minimal effort and work to try and get it consistent. I really don't practice this much until I decide to just make this guide, so maybe a couple hours. And it's about like 50% consistent right now, and I think with a little bit more work, it's absolutely going to be almost nearly 100% consistent. That being said, though, some really tricks of the trade that can help out is really making sure your initial jumps and quick save are good. So with this, I definitely am landing outside the peg, squaring up and walking in, and then force pushing as quickly as possible. If you wait too long to force push, it's going to make the trick a lot more difficult, but still doable. And then also making sure that you crouch on time as well and move into the pillar. But definitely having that center lock on and quick execution of the trick is really the key to just making this really, really easy peasy. Anyways, this is going to do it for me. Thanks so much for checking out this video. If you have any questions about this trick, please feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will definitely try and answer it. That being said, this community is awesome, and you should totally try speedrunning this game. Boom. Yes.